Welcome to SAM Conversation. I'm Tarun Basu, and I'll be speaking to Beena Sarwar, Boston-based Pakistani journalist, South Asian peace activist, and educator, among many other hats that she wears. Good to have you on this program, Beena.
Thank you, Tarun. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. You and a clutch of fellow activists from across the region have been championing the cause of peace between India and Pakistan for quite a long time, not just India and Pakistan, but the entire South Asian region. Now, in the current antagonistic relationship between India and Pakistan, if not downright hostile, isn't it a kind of, what should I say, a kind of oxymoron to talk of peace? I'm sorry to be cynical, but if you talk to anybody on either side of the border, they'll say, why talk of peace now? Where is the atmosphere? Where is the environment? So you have to be quite brave to be championing a kind of lonely furrow in the cause of peace in South Asia.
Yeah, I don't, there's so many people with us. We have 83 organizations that have from the region and around the world that have endorsed the SouthAsiaPeace.com. So 82 organizations, 83 organizations is not a joke. And this is without any marketing, without any promotion. More than 500 individuals, very big names. We've been doing this for the last 3 years. And actually, Tarun, when you say that this is not the atmosphere, this is exactly the atmosphere. You can't see behind me, but that's the Asma Jahangir, my mentor. There's a conference, the Asma Jahangir conference is taking place this weekend. My background is blurred, so you can't see that poster. That's from when she conference for her just after she passed away. But the point is that you have to. I don't know if it's brave or not, but it's something we have. I feel that we feel we have to do. You can't. This is the time when people are talking of when the atmosphere is being created for bigotry and hyper nationalism and hyper religiosity in the name of, and as they say, karwan chalta gaya, kafla badhta gaya. So that's what's happening, I think.
What made you and your fellow activists start this movement? When did the seeds of this movement actually, were
So I
planted?
can't speak for others, but for me, the seeds of it are from my childhood, actually, because my parents are from the Allahabad Pratapgarh area. And my mother came to Pakistan as a teenager, so she came in the 50s. And she actually learned Hindi, not Urdu. She had to learn Urdu. And as children, she took us, I think, do teen dafa we went to India. We went to Bombay, Delhi, Allahabad, Pratapgarh, Agra, of course. And so we have family there. But then after a long gap, I went for the first time as an adult in the early 1990s, and I reconnected and I connected with a lot of peace activists at that time. And like Shabnam Hashmi, at that time was running, now it's Anhad. And the people that I've connected with then are still some of my very close friends. Anand Patwardhan in Bombay, Shabnam Hashmi. And then through my work with Pakistan India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy, which Asma Jahangir is one of the founders, Dr. Mubashir Hasan Nair, people like that, all of whom I had the privilege to meet, cross-border people. And then I was been involved in other various South Asian initiatives like Himal South Asian, PANOS South Asia, South Asians for Human Rights. So I have always had. I mean, it's been nothing that is happening now has come out of the blue. It's all being built upon a lot of initiatives, riding on a lot of the inspiration and the legacy of a lot of people, some of whom I mentioned, but there are too many to mention. Tapan Bose, Rita Manchanda, like Nikhil Chakravarti, who I never had the pleasure to meet, but he was one of Dr. Mubashir Hassan's close friends. And Dr. Mubashir Hassan gave a talk in Delhi, which he sent me after I joined Aman Ki Asha, the Pakistan India Peace Initiative started by the Young Group and the Times of India in 2010. That was launched in 2010. And Dr. Saab then sent me, who was one of my mentors, he sent me this paper he had written for the Nikhil Chakravarti lecture in Delhi. He had presented it. It was called The Walls Must Come Down. So this was back in like 2000s he had given this talk. And then he said something to me, Dr. Mubashir said something, who passed away a couple of years ago. He said something to me that, which came back during the COVID times. He said, if France and Germany can be part of the EU, why can't India and Pakistan be part of a South Asian Union? So I said, Dr. Saab, आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं? This is not going to happen, but exactly what you said, like this is what, why even talk about? So he said to me very, in his gentle way, he was very gentle, very beautiful man. He said, मगर हम बात तो कर सकते हैं ना? We can talk about it at least. So बात आई गई हो गई. I left, I moved to
But
Boston.
आज तो वो बात भी नहीं चल रही. Even that dialogue, that conversation, even any kind of track two, even that is not happening. So, I mean, of course, one, tends to become cynical about all this, although I understand. I mean, I completely, not just, appreciate what you are doing, but, one is silently supporting it. But where is the scope to take it further unless the government stop? Where is the scope for even any kind of the minimal cultural engagement?
So this is true that we need the governments to issue the visas, which is why we actually have a petition online, which has been going on for some time. It's at change.org/milnedo, MILNEDO, which has got thousands of signatures just now. It used to be just India, Pakistan, but then we included it, added it, made it a South Asia thing a couple of years ago. The scope is so we can only do what we can do, right? I mean, this is the philosophy of all the great religions and philosophies of the world. The basic crux of it is be the change. In Islam, the thing is, the greater jihad is a struggle within to conquer your own worst self. This jihad is not violence and weapons. That's the physical thing, is the lesser jihad. The biggest struggle is to be the change.
The change you want to see.
The change you want to see, to model the behavior. If somebody is behaving in a way that you don't like, rather than descend to that level and start behaving like that person. And we see this all the time in social media, all this tutu meme and mudslinging. And of course, social media has completely vitiated the atmosphere,
Appreciate,
because
right?
completely. And but at the same time, it's a double-edged, it's a like somebody said to me, the knife can be used to cut the apple, or to slice somebody, or to cut or to injure somebody. So we can use it to our advantage, and we have been using these digital platforms, digital tools. We,
So,
meaning
what are these
people.
platforms are you using? I'm sorry to interrupt. What are
No,
these
no.
platforms are you using
The
now
digital
to
platforms
promote this
everybody
work?
uses. Yeah, the digital platform that everybody is using, the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, website, YouTube, WhatsApp. There's a WhatsApp channel, the Sapan WhatsApp channel, SAPN, and I guess we should put it on the website, because we are also learning along the way. Now, the thing is, we don't have troll armies flooding these platforms like the other side does. But the other thing I want to say is that I don't want to demonize the other side, because what we are trying to do is to go beyond the stereotypes. Like, I was talking to our friend Mayank the other day, who has just come back from Ahmedabad. And I just learned a lot about Ahmedabad recently, because there's an exhibition here at Harvard of Seva, about Seva. And it's a beautiful exhibition, just launched last week. And some participants from Seva came and spoke at that. And it really brought that whole movement to life for me, which I've always admired, the Self-Employed Women's Association, Seva. And I was just joking with him, and I said, "Oh, that's a very right-wing, area." And he said, "Yes, but this is also the heart of Gandhiism, Ahmedabad." And he says, "I know people who are from the BJP who would stand in front of anybody trying to attack a Muslim." So, there's a stereotype that the media, which we are part of, you and I, we are part of the media. There are stereotypes that we feed into because we follow those formulas that is there in the media. So what we are trying to do through Sapan, through South Asia Peace Action Network, and then the Sapan News Network that grew out of that, which is
Before we talk about
I
Sapan,
just want to quickly
yeah,
mention
yeah.
that to go beyond these is to privilege the peripheries, and to like talk about the nuances and all that.
So before we talk about Sapan, would you talk a little bit about this Aman Ki Asha, which was started by the two leading newspapers in India and Pakistan, and what happened to that? One doesn't hear about it anymore.
Well, it's there on the online still, amankiasha.com. It's there. And I
But
was
it's lost steam, and people have lost interest in that,
well,
given the
okay,
state.
so here's the yeah, it had Aman Ki Asha had this big corporate backing. The two biggest media groups, the giants of India and Pakistan. In India, it was just the Times of India. In Pakistan, it was the Jung Group, the News, and Geo TV, which is the 24/7, the first and the biggest TV channel in Pakistan. So for went at great steam for a while. We had brand ambassadors like Amitabh Bachchan and Gulzar Sahab and Zia Mohyuddin and big names. And we had concerts with the Strings and Indian Ocean, and we had mushairas and like
I
really
remember that. I remember that. Yes.
and economic and the business people came together, dividends of peace, economic conferences, people like Ganesh Natarajan in Pune, who's a a well-known name in the world of entrepreneurship, and other people like that who came and participated. And for 3 4 years this ran, and then things happened, political happenings on both sides in 2014. I'm not going to go into details, but political happenings on both sides meant that both the media corporations kind of just basically dropped the physical meetings. And that was the heart of the campaign. These physical meetings around which then media campaign, that there would be newspaper articles and TV reports and stuff like that. So when the physical things weren't happening, now all we have on the website is the occasional article that I will post that upholds this narrative. It's still there, and there is a huge support for it. But as you pointed out, and as we were talking earlier, people are scared now. The atmosphere is so different. And the time when people are scared is the time to take courage and take a stand. And I'm not saying that people should come out there and like chest thumping and flag waving and all. No, but just stand for what you believe in. And if you believe in peace and dialogue, then to not feed into the narrative that counters that, at least.
And you must persevere. I mean, the main thing is
And
to
you must
persevere,
persevere.
and
So
I think I
yeah, what we are doing, we might not see the results in our lifetime or in the next few years, and maybe we'll see it in our lifetime. Who knows? Hope
who
springs
knows?
to
Who
anger.
knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
We're not going to
So
say
the
no.
Sapan grew out as this movement, this Aman Ki Asha kind of petered out, if I might say, or got aborted. So Sapan grew out of that. You
I think, okay, so I think that's really interesting. I would say that Sapan South Asia Peace Action Network, SouthAsiaPeace.com, as I said, it was launched in March 2021. So it's now been a little over 3 years. So I think it definitely has built upon Aman Ki Asha, the Pakistan India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy, and the other initiatives that I mentioned. It is not something that has just happened out of the blue. And I would say that my work with Aman Ki Asha, working with Times of India and the Jung Group, and I'm still in touch with the journalists and some of the other people on both sides, and they are supporters, but their corporation, it's not a corporate thing anymore. But I would say that it grew out of that, or like I would say that what I learned in my year in working with Aman Ki Asha, maybe unconsciously, I'm applying it to Sapan. Like we
do
have a
that.
brand, we have a logo, we are consciously pursuing some kind of branding. I realize the importance of branding of
And it's not just India, Pakistan anymore. It's the largest South Asian
South
campaign.
Asia. And so we very consciously promote, like as I said earlier, privilege the peripheries, like get people from Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, even Afghanistan, Myanmar, Bhutan, Maldives, try and bring them into the conversation and break the hegemonic sort of like the like get past the hegemony, like somehow counter the hegemony by building this network. So what you said earlier about we can't do anything without the governments, and there's no track two and all that, I believe there is some track two going on right now from what I've heard. But I think I also do think that not everything has to be in the glare of the media, because I think the way the media is only spoils things, because
Yeah, India and Pakistan, South Asia is much larger, and there are
exactly.
so many other countries, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Maldives, Bhutan,
Yes.
Afghanistan, and all they want peace and they want you have to look beyond India and Pakistan.
And they're saying that you idiots, your stupid, childish
Yeah,
behavior is spoiling things for the rest of us.
exactly,
Like you could
exactly.
have the relations between India and Pakistan are making are holding back development for the whole region.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
mean, how selfish
exactly.
is that? How selfish is that? And how childish. And I really want to tell the leaders of both countries to grow up and to show some adult behavior. Really. Use your words, you know.
I
बच्चों
noticed
बच्चों
you
को
have
कहते
some
हैं
kind of your online discussion coming up on tomorrow or later on youth centric, talking about South Asian identity. That's very
yeah,
interesting. South Asian identity and South Asian
yes,
diversity. Would you like to talk a little bit on that? And
exactly.
because the future is the youth, and if you can motivate them to talk to each other and to
Yes,
think about having a South Asian
yes.
identity, that would go a
Yes,
long
so what
way.
I find really exciting is that it's not just us oldies who are, I mean, I don't feel, I'm not I'm saying oldies, but us who've been in this thing for decades now. It's not
Exactly.
for us. We have helped to lay this, foundations and the seeds, and we are, as I said, building upon those who have gone before us. And what's really exciting is how young people are coming forward, reaching out to us through email, through social media, whatever, and being introduced to us. But by word, it's all word of mouth mostly, actually. And this conversation that is happening tomorrow, and the details are at the website southasiapeace.com under the events tab. Um, it's entirely youth led. It's young people. The idea came from Khushi Kabir in Bangladesh, who said that, I want to know what the young people are thinking about South Asian identity. And so there are young people from Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, and they are just going to have a conversation being moderated by a very young, man who's from India, originally in America, a community organizer, Faisal Lalani, and moderating discussion. And have young people participating in it who are, by young, I mean all under 35. So
That's
it's,
that's very
and most of them are 20.
that's very encouraging. That's very encouraging.
Yeah.
You wear so many hats, so how do you fit in? I mean, on a personal level, like, how do you fit in so many activities? You are
Okay. Um, so it's just that, sorry, I forgot what I was saying because something happened
your
with
trip to Sri Lanka.
I was saying beyond the headlines that it is incumbent upon us as journalists that yes, hard news and breaking news and investigative stories are all very important. But what gets left out is the features, and that's what I've always focused upon is the features that look at things beyond the headlines and provide explainers and backgrounders and context. And this is one of the things I tell my students. I teach journalism here in Boston at Emerson College, and I've taught in other places before. Is the three things I tell them is to look at the process, to look at the context, and to take the long view. It's not about just what's happening now.
So, well, it was very nice talking to you, Beena, and to see the kind of activities and the range of activities you're doing. More power to your efforts and more support for what you're doing in the cause of South Asian unity. Even if India and Pakistan don't come together in the foreseeable future, at least the rest of South Asia can, and we should encourage that. So, thank you for speaking to South Asia Monitor, and we should keep the conversation going.
Thank you very much.